Game 2 today. The Texans beat Oakland. Now it's Detroit against Seattle, and we have both sidelines covered. Michelle Tafoya working the Detroit side, Heather Cox with Seattle. First, let's start with Michelle.
Well, Al, it was week 14 when Matthew Stafford injured a tendon in the middle finger of his throwing hand. And since then, he's thrown just 3 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions, and his quarterback rating has plummeted. Now, Stafford's been wearing a splint just like this one because without it, he would not be able to straighten that finger completely on his own. And he's got to wear it 24/7 around the clock in order for that tendon to heal properly. Now, tonight, his starting right tackle, Riley Reif, will miss his second straight game with a hip injury. He'll be replaced by Cornelius Lucas. Now over to Heather.
Michelle, thank you. After losing Tyler Lockett, Seattle faced major depth issues in the return game. So on Tuesday, they signed Devin Hester, the NFL's all-time leader in return touchdowns. Now, Hester was cut by the Ravens after 5 fumbles in 14 games, but he told me he attributes those fumbles to injuries that caused him to play timid, and that now he is 100% healthy and 100% confident. Seattle also has a new long snapper in Tyler Ott. He has just 4 NFL games under his belt, and his first with Seattle, Al.
All right, thank you, Heather. A tradition here, of course, is the raising of the flag high above the stadium. And it's normally somebody who's a blast from the past who gets the honor. And tonight that is one Steve Hutchinson, the outstanding guard with the Seahawks 2001 through 2005. So he played in Super Bowl 40 when the Seahawks went into Detroit and were beaten by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they raise the flag, the fireworks get shot off. CenturyLink Field always rocking and rolling, and that will be the case tonight once again. 39 degrees, clear skies, maybe a little bit of threat of rain, but not until later on. And kicking off for Seattle, because they won the toss and elected to defer, is Stephen Hauschka. And back deep for Detroit, good return man, Andre Roberts. 22.6 average on kick returns, and he's returned 2 punts for a touchdown. So Matthew Stafford ready to lead the offense out onto the field as we get ready for the Lions and the Seahawks. 5 yards in, Roberts will down it there. Let's take a look at the Lions starters.
Matthew Stafford, Georgia.
Zach Zenner, South Dakota State.
Golden Tate, Fighting Irish.
Marvin Jones Jr., Cal.
Anquan Bolden, Florida State. Eric Ebron, North Carolina.
Taylor Decker, The Ohio State University.
Lakin Tomlinson, Duke.
Graham Glasgow, Michigan.
Larry Warford, Kentucky.
Cornelius Lucas, Kansas State.
2 rookies on that offensive front. Michelle talking about a Reif out. So you've got Lucas, 3rd-year free agent at right tackle. Crowd already in full throat on the first play of the game from the 25-yard line. And this is Zenner, double Z, becoming a sudden star. He's had 2 good weeks in a row against Dallas and Green Bay. Take a look at Stafford now in his 8th year in the league. Second in team history to Eric Kramer, who was the quarterback in terms of postseason yardage, was the quarterback when the Lions last won a postseason game back after the 91 season. Pete Carroll, who's been here since 2010, on the Seahawks sideline, and it's 2nd down and 7. And a little miscommunication there as Zenner was going to get the handoff. They faked the handoff, and then it's Bolden and Jones both in the area. 3rd down and 7.
Well, you've got both these corners out here. They're just going to jump all over that. And the Seattle Seahawks tonight, they know what the Detroit Lions are going to have to do. They're going to have to get the ball out of their hands quickly because they've got a rookie at 1 tackle. They've got a 3rd stringer at the right tackle. Not going to see Matthew Stafford back there holding the football.
And do it with a decibel level at about 110. 3rd down and 7. And Stafford gets it away quickly, and it's dropped. Golden Tate coming back to Seattle, started his career here, spent 4 years here, 3 with the Detroit Lions, and it's a quick 3-and-out to start for Detroit.
Really a great play. They come just like that, and it looks like it's going to be one of those wheel kind of routes, perfectly designed, and just don't execute coming home right off the face mask.
Sam Martin, one of the best punters in the league. Now Devin Hester just signed this week to return. Was with Baltimore earlier this year before they let him go. Flag is thrown as Hester collects it at the 20-yard line. One of the great run-back men of all time, especially early on in his career. He made some mark, and we'll get our first call of the night from Brad Allen, third-year referee, and this is his first playoff game as an official. Jim Caldwell.
During the kick, illegal block in the back, number 29 of the receiving team. That 10-yard penalty is enforced from the end of the kick.
Well, Russell Wilson's going to come out as they move the ball back to the 14-yard line.
Correction.
Yeah, it's got to go the other way.
On number 29 of the kicking team.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right, well, that 10-yard penalty will be assessed from the end of the kick, the dead ball spot. First down.
Well, Brad Allen will not forget his postseason debut.
No, that's a 20-yard difference there, but the players, they're so fired up, they didn't pay attention either. They just sort of marched back and got ready for the first snap.
All right, so they're going to move it back to about the 6 or 8-yard line. Instead, it comes back out to the 26. Russell Wilson, third QB in history, joining Otto Graham and Joe Flacco to start a postseason game in each of their first 5 seasons. And now they're trying to figure out exactly where the ball should be.
Yeah, I think that's where it was originally. Now you got to take it 10 yards the other way, right? There's a 20-yard difference. So they already marked it back 10.
So that's where Hester had brought it back to. And now they get it figured out.
You know, block in the back, you don't usually think about the kicking team with the block in the back, and so we'll give them a pass early on.
A rare call to begin with.
Yeah.
So Wilson comes up in the shotgun from the 36-yard line. Lions with a 4-man front. Wilson fires to the outside. That's caught, short gain. Doug Baldwin makes the catch, and let's take a look at the Seattle offense.
Russell Wilson, from a whole pack of Badgers.
Thomas Ross, Central Michigan.
Marcel Reese, University of Washington.
Doug Baldwin, Stanford.
Jermaine Kearse, University of Washington.
Jimmy Graham, the U.
George Fant, Western Kentucky.
Mark Lewinsky, West Virginia. Justin Britt, LHS, MIZ.
Jermaine Ifedi, Giga Maggies.
Garrett Gilliam, Milton Hershey.
And as is the case with Detroit, 2 rookies on the offensive front, as Thomas Rawls takes the ball out to the 43-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and this is a different looking Seattle Seahawks offense than what they had been in the past. Of course, with Marshawn Lynch, there's Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator. This is all about Russell Wilson now, because you'll see him get the ball out of his hands quickly. But what becomes really exciting is when he starts all the scramble stuff. Last week, the Lions didn't do so well against that with Aaron Rodgers.
Hurt his knee early in the season. This is the first time he's had the brace off since September. So 3rd and 3. And Wilson is able to escape for the moment and then gets it away before he is sacked, and the pass is incomplete. You had Ziggy Ansah coming in and putting the pressure on. Kerry Hyder was next, and it's 4th down.
Well, this is one that has to be won by the Detroit Lions. Ziggy Ansah, probably their best pass rusher on the outside against George Fant, a guy with no experience whatsoever. And then it was Kerry Hyder coming over to clean it up. So a nice start there defensively for the Lions.
John Ryan is the punter. Andre Roberts mentioned those 2 punt returns for touchdowns this season. He sets up inside his 15, and it's a wobbly short kick that is fair caught up at the 18-yard line. So each team begins with a 3-and-out in this wild card game. This wild card playoff is brought to you by Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row. By Verizon, join the better network because better matters. And by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families. And Chris, that is donuts and maple bars or Top Pot donuts. You wonder, do they do any business the week after everybody has their New Year's resolution?
I know everything in this town is green. Donuts are even green here.
Plenty of carbs from the 23-yard line. Matthew Stafford will take this snap out of the pistol. And he fires behind the intended receiver. That's incomplete, intended for Jones. Stafford dislocated that finger. He's taken almost every snap, either from the gun or from the pistol.
Let's take a look, see if he even gets that finger anywhere close to the snap. Nope. I mean, you can tell, right? If you got a bad finger, you're kind of keeping it off and you don't want to jam it in any way, shape, or form. I got a lot of respect for him. I really do, because he's playing at something less than his best with that thing on his finger.
No doubt. And disparate numbers before and after the injury. On 2nd down and 10, they give the ball to Zinner, and there he goes again out to the 40-yard line. Big splash against Dallas a couple of weeks ago. Played well, especially in the first half last week against Green Bay, and off he goes tonight for a gain of 17 here.
Not a bad start here for the 3rd string right tackle. You've got Cornelius Lucas out there. They run right behind him and zip in behind it. I tell you, for Zach Zinner, here's the first half wonder guy. In the past 2 weeks, 127 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half, just 9 yards in the second half. They need to stay close enough to let Zach Zinner be a factor throughout.
Need some form of a running game, which they haven't had all season. On 1st down, here's a flag, and this time Zinner will chug his way out to the 43, pending the call.
Offside. Defense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Something that happens with some frequency. Michael Bennett trying to get the jump.
Yeah, no question about it right there. And he pushes the line of scrimmage, and he every year will be close to the league lead in offsides, but he also creates some real problems in the backfield. He's a bit of a freelancer, and they like it. Guy that studies a lot of film. They think he anticipates very well, and they're willing to let him take some chances.
You saw the graphic only in Ndamukong Suh, the ex-Lion, now with Miami, penalized more in the last 4 seasons. And this is Zinner to the outside, up to the 47. Played his college ball at South Dakota State, gained 2,000 or more yards in 3 of those seasons. Came in as a free agent. Boy, he's really been a spark for them lately.
Yeah, played a career-high 64 snaps against the Green Bay Packers. And the offensive running game has changed since he's come in there. Theo Riddick was Mr. Outside. This guy's Mr. Inside. Most of his runs are right there of guards and centers right up the gut.
2nd and 3 from the 47-yard line. Another flag. And that play was blown dead before the snap.
Just so hard. I think it was Lucas.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
So the right tackle jumping.
So you just can't hear, but look at his head looking in here at the ball. That's the only way that you can basically see the snap count. And Michael Bennett was messing with him a little bit. He gave him that little flinch, and out of the peripheral vision, I'm sure that Cornelius Lucas saw that. It's just a very difficult environment. One of the things that the Lions last year did was come in here and play and not have those penalties.
How much fun is that for a guy who gets the start because the regular is hurt, free agent out of Kansas State? You're lining up against Michael Bennett.
Are you serious? How much fun was that?
Yeah, really.
Rhetorical?
Yes, rhetorical.
Thank you.
Cynical. 2nd and 8 from the 42. They had Golden Tate lined up in the backfield, and they throw it to him. It's behind him, but he's able to adjust, make the catch, and set up a 3rd and 1 at the 49-yard line. So Tate flaring out of the backfield to take the pass.
Nice job here by this offensive line. They're going to end up with Bennett doing some fancy stuff here, looping around, but on the left side, so young. And anytime they're trying to take advantage of all those new players, don't forget Graham Glasgow. He's a center playing as a rookie as well, and he was a guard for most of the year, so everything's shuffled around on this Lions line. They're going to try and confuse them tonight.
3rd and 1 for Detroit. And the pass to the outside is dropped. It's been Eric Ebron's problem since he came into the league. Dropping passes, he does here. They can't convert. 4th down. In comes the punting group.
And I'm sure Matthew Stafford's going, come on. Both drives have basically been killed by drop passes right in their hands, and that's been a bit of an issue all season long.
So now Devin Hester came up as a rookie with the Bears, broke in with a splash, returned the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl. He played in for a touchdown. Calls for a fair catch here. Goes to his knee to collect it at the 13-yard line. 8:59 left in the quarter. No score in Seattle. Don't miss a moment of tonight's game with the NBC Sports app. You can watch the game anywhere, live on your laptop, tablet, and connected TVs. State of football, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, is in attendance tonight. Tries to get to as many playoff games as he can and crosses the country for this one. From the 13-yard line, second drive for Seattle. Huge hole through the middle. Thomas rolls, gain of 13, and Seattle has its first down. So a nice block from the fullback, Reese.
He sure did right there. You're going to see Marcel Reese, who really, he was a wide receiver in high school and college, and now he's playing the fullback position, and that's helped with the dynamic of this offense. They split him out a lot, and they're able to throw the ball. There he goes again.
Played his college football. Not far from here at the University of Washington. They split him out. Flag gets thrown. Fired over the middle. Incomplete. Graham could not one-hand it and pays the price. So Jimmy is down and writhing and rolling on the ground and trying to get up. The tight end, and he'll go over to the Seattle bench. You have a flag down before all of this happened. Tavon Wilson was the man who whacked Graham. Brad Allen gives us the call.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 players moving, not set for a full second. That 5-yard penalty will be administered from the previous spot. First down.
Well, Tavon Wilson is a big hitter, former Patriots. Let's see if there's anything illegal here. You could argue a little late, but nothing illegal at all. Got his shoulder in there. He is the enforcer back there. No question about it. He is a big hitter. A guy that I think is one of the more underrated safeties around. He just got stuck and buried on that New England Patriots roster, and Jimmy Graham knows all about how hard he can hit.
Well, he ushered him to the sideline, put the coat on him right now. Here's a pass to the outside, caught by Baldwin. Gets it to the 32, and we'll meet the Lions defense now.
Devin Taylor, South Carolina.
Ashawn Robinson, Alabama.
Paul Pingata, Oregon.
Ziggy Ansah, UAU.
DeAndre Levy, Wisconsin.
Tyre Whitehead, Temple.
Josh Bonds, Auburn. Big Play Slay, Mississippi State.
Tavon Wilson, Illinois.
Glover Quinn, UNM Lobos.
Nevin Lawson, Utah State.
So second down and 5 now. Wilson under pressure throws, and that's Luke Wilson. And with Jimmy Graham out for the moment, Luke Wilson will have to do the heavy-duty stuff. He tried to roll for a first down, comes up a yard short, 3rd and 1.
It's pretty interesting play call there by Darrell Bevel. They've got the one receiver going across the formation first, and Luke Wilson just blocking, and all of a sudden really late as an emergency situation, get him out and set up this 3rd and short.
Rolls is the back. Give it to him, puts his head down, takes it to the 40-yard line. Boy, I tell you, the Seattle Seahawks have had a few guys carry the ball this season. 18 specifically, 18 different men have carried the football for the Seattle Seahawks. And of course, one reason is when Marshawn Lynch retired. You have to go back to 1970 to find a team that had that many guys carry the ball. The 1970 Saints, excluding the strike season of '87. Up in the eye this time. And good tough running by Rawls, who missed several games earlier this season after he got hurt. Picks up about 8. Reese again leads the way. Second down and a deuce.
The big question mark in Seattle has been this offensive line as well. But watch the block here by Mark Glowinski. He is a guy. There's some guys on that offensive line that aren't all that strong, particularly these 2 tackles. Mark Glowinski, though, that's a man. He'll come off the ball. He doesn't always know what he's doing completely. He's still young. That was a good block.
Second-year man from West Virginia. Wilson gets enveloped at the 41-yard line. Pressure was on. He tried to escape the pocket. You got Lawson and Mata converging on the sack, and that makes it 3rd down and 8.
The really key part of this, though, is the contain. Now they're going to bring some pressure off of this side, but that containment on the outside really made this, because Russell Wilson is going to flush. You know he's going to scramble. Against Aaron Rodgers, they let him out. So far, they're doing much better against Russell Wilson.
And good news for the Seahawks. Jimmy Graham is able to come back in after a brief respite on the bench. It's 3rd down and 8. 4-man rush, and Wilson is going to get taken down back-to-back. Another sack here, and that time it is Ansah, who's been playing on a bad ankle most of the year. Had only 2 sacks this season. Gets a big one here. 4th and 13.
Watch this little loop inside. Remember, George Fant is a guy that never played a snap of left tackle in his life until he got to the National Football League. When I looked at the matchup of this game, I said Ziggy Ansah, if he doesn't have at least 2 sacks in this game, there's no way the Lions win. He's off to a good start.
Yep, got healthy at the end of the year. John Ryan is a line drive punt. Roberts fields, then drops it and recovers it at the 24-yard line. So 4:39 to play in the first quarter. No score in this NFC wildcard playoff game. So Matthew Stafford, before he got hurt at the end of the first quarter against the Bears week 14, his numbers were great. Rating is 100, a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, completed more than 2/3 of his passes. And look at those numbers after the injury. 3 TDs, 5 picks. They did win that Chicago game, but then they lost at New York, they lost at Dallas, and lost last week to Green Bay. Huge difference.
You know, Al, I have a lot of respect for both of these quarterbacks. They've been playing hurt for a better part of the season. And I can tell you, I've had a few games where basically the coach said, hey, just go out there. Somebody's going to have to cover you. But you don't want to play because it's embarrassing to play at something less than 100%. But at this time of year in the National Football League, everybody's dealing with something.
They have to have you. Here's Zenner to the outside to the 26, and we check in with Michelle.
Well, here's a closer look at Stafford's injury. It impacts the joint of the knuckle located just below the fingernail of his middle finger on that throwing hand. It's a tear of the extensor tendon, which runs along the top of the finger, and without the splint, he wouldn't be able to completely straighten the finger. He wears the splint, as I mentioned in the open, around the clock, because if he removed it, that healing process would have to start all over again, Al.
Yeah, Michelle, and one good thing for him tonight is it's not raining, because the forecast was for rain, even snow showers, which would have even been more problematic. But right now it's bone dry. 2nd down and 9. Stafford fires, and that pass is incomplete. So he's off the mark here. That pass intended for Ebron, and behind him it's 3rd down and 9.
Well, that pass is hard enough when you have a good finger, but you're moving to your left, and now you've got a bad finger, and you're trying to turn back around and make that kind of throw. But what we've seen so far, see if we can see this release point, is that the Seattle Seahawks don't have a ton of respect for the wide receivers of the Detroit Lions. They are in their face, they're playing the run, and they're going to force Matthew Stafford to find somebody that can win a one-on-one battle outside.
And you got jumping, and that's going to shut down the play. Stafford said, you know, he was not unabated. I had a free play. And the umpire says, sorry about it, I have to protect you. That was Cassius Marsh coming across the line.
Neutral zone infraction, number 91, defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
I'm sure the official said something like, would you rather live or get a free play?
Right.
I have seen both happen.
Live or let die.
Yeah.
Jim Caldwell, announced this week that he was going to be back. He has 1 more year remaining on his contract anyway, but there was some speculation that if he lost or didn't get to the playoffs, as was the case perhaps last week, he wouldn't be back, and they said he'll definitely be back. 3rd down and 4. Stafford is able to escape throw, and the pass is caught for a first down. Nice play. Ebron out to the 43. So a nice slide step to his right by Stafford, and he completes the pass here for a gain of 13.
Oh, man, Zach Zinner is going to get a whole lot more popular. Watch Bobby Wagner come on the blitz, and Zinner is going to see him at the last minute and just get him out of the way, and that's allowed Matthew Stafford to make that play down the field. There's a one-on-one battle that they finally won down there. Nice job by Eric Ebron.
Good job by Zinner taking out Bobby Wagner, who'll be going to the Pro Bowl and has had a tremendous year, all-pro middle linebacker. Zinner again, ZZ for about a yard or so.
He's your favorite guy, isn't he?
Well,
he's
the only guy. I mean, he's thinking about becoming a doctor, man. Dr. Zhivago.
There you go. Ah, very good.
He's tops, right? Oh, come on. we got to stop that.
It's late in the year.
He's fun.
He is a smart guy and did some work at the local hospital and medical research during the offseason.
2nd and 8. 2.5 to go in the quarter. And a little fake toss. Stafford fires, and that is caught, and then working his way is Marvin Jones wrestling his way for a first down to the Seattle 47-yard line.
Nice job by Marvin Jones here, understanding that he was looking at his own defense there, coming over and just stopping. Because you don't want to keep running if there's somebody standing right there. That's Stephen Terrell, the safety. And it's so many times young wide receivers will just keep coming across there and they get their head taken off. That was a good job by Marvin Jones understanding the defense.
And they're going to walk Terrell off the field. Now, he's a very important guy because Earl Thomas got hurt, broke his leg 5 weeks ago. We were here on a Sunday night. So he's been the guy. Now, Kelsey McRae has to come in and fill that spot in the one-time Legion of Boom.
But McRae did start for Cam Chancellor's weeks 6 through 9, so he has plenty of experience.
2 minutes to the end of the quarter. This time, great protection, but the secondary does its work as well. And he finds Zinner, who gets free at the 40-yard line for a gain of 7. Wagner makes the stop, 2nd and 3.
You're going to see Cornelius Lucas out here. Remember, he's 3rd string. He's not 2nd string. And one of the reasons that Michael Bennett went down inside is because Zach Zinner was sitting outside ready to chip him. So the veteran goes down inside. But we're seeing a little bit of the mobility of Matthew Stafford in this one. He's starting to find some throwing lanes and putting this drive together.
2nd down and 3. Little toss now to Golden Tate coming around. A lot of razzle-dazzle and mounting to nothing to the 40-yard line. So Tate, who began his career here, has a Super Bowl ring. Took the money and went to Detroit, even though Pete Carroll said we wanted to keep him. There was a miscommunication when he could walk, and he did, and he winds up in Detroit, where he led the team in receptions this year with 91.
Now, there's a lot of trash talking used to go on with Golden Tate in the defense in practice. Bobby Wagner was so glad he finally got a chance to hit this guy.
3rd down and 3. Final minute of the quarter. And look out, and Stafford is able to maintain his balance and gets whacked by Sherman at the end. He's short of the first down. He had Frank Clark coming in and almost had him behind the line of scrimmage, and then Stafford's able to pick up a couple, making it 4th down and 1. And we'll see what Caldwell decides, but he'll have a nice little break here to think about it, because that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. End of 1 with the score: Detroit nothing, Seattle nothing. This wild card playoff game from Seattle continues right after these messages. And aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico. What a sight, the Space Needle, which was constructed when they had the World's Fair here in 1962, flying the 12 flood.
12's about to get really loud right now.
Second quarter, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoy, and Heather Cox working the sidelines, and at least for the moment, The Lions are going to line up to go for it. They have Dwayne Washington in the backfield, and they do indeed snap it, and they roll, and a little boot, and the pass is caught, but behind the line of scrimmage by Matthew Mulligan, and he gets buried, and that'll turn the ball over to the Seahawks at about the 40-yard line. Bobby Wagner is there. A little razzle-dazzle on that one. Turns out to be a pile of junk, basically. So on fourth down, you get that, and Seattle has the ball when we come back. How about the Lions when they come west since 1983? Detroit coming out to the West Coast, 4-24 during the regular season. Only wins in '93. The Rams were in Anaheim at that point. Seahawks here, Raiders twice. Horace Greeley in the mid-1800s said, "Go west, young man," but he wasn't talking to the Lions. From the 40-yard line, they begin this drive. The Seahawks do with a great run. That's a Lynch-like, Marshawn Lynch-like run by Thomas Rawls. Go back to the fourth down play now. Detroit giving up the ball.
Yeah, you've got Matthew Mulligan right here, who is going to basically be blocking. I don't think he was intended to be a target at all, but Seattle did such a nice job covering the outside guys. Surprised me a little bit that Zach Zenner, their power back, wasn't in there. It was almost a little bit of an alert for me when it was Dwayne Washington. I was thinking, oh, they must be doing something else, and I think Seattle was thinking the same thing.
Hawks now from the 48-line. Double tight end set, and again moving to the outside goes Rawls for a 9-yard gain. So Rawls, he's going to take over from Marshawn Lynch when Lynch retired last year. In fact, he had taken over a good part of last season when Lynch was hurt. Then he got hurt this year. Kristen Michael became their guy. When Rawls got healthy, Michael went back to Green Bay, so he'll be in action for the Packers tomorrow. And as you can see tonight, he's got already a total of 49 yards on 6 carries. Second down and 1. Rolls to the outside. Can he get around the corner? No, he gets slung down by Lawson, inches shy of the first down. Third and that much.
Yeah, and for Thomas Rawls, they've been waiting for this to happen. Of course, he came out. He had such a great year at the end of last year and came back and he looked great. But the last 3 games averaging just 1.5 yards per carry. And everybody's like, what's up with this offensive line, with this back? But Pete Carroll let us know. He said, hey, we're running the ball and we're staying with it in this game. I don't care what happens. And so far they have.
Yeah, he said the other day he's going to get 20 carries tonight. He's on a pace to do that. And this time it is Marcel Reese, the fullback. And we'll see when they put the ball down. The 38-yard line. I suspect even if they're short, they will go for it. Official sticks on the far side, and they will bring them in.
Watch Elodie Nada right here jump around Jermaine Ifedi, the young rookie, and get right in the backfield. I'm just going to be brutally honest here. We watched that game against Green Bay the other day, and there weren't star players on the field for the Lions on defense. And they have to make plays tonight like Elodie Nada just made. They have to come up and be better than what they were and what they've been all season if they're going to knock off the Seattle Seahawks here. And that was a good start right there for Elodie Nada.
Well, you made a great point last night in our meeting about there's no real game-breaking defensive player. They need a guy to at least have a game-breaking night tonight. Somebody on that side.
DeAndre Levy used to be, and he's coming back from injury. Darius Slay, but let's see if they can come up with one right here in the biggest moment.
4th and inches. It rolls in the backfield. They give it to him, and he takes care of it. He goes to the 35-yard line to move the chains on his 8th carry of the night. He already has 53 yards. First down, Seahawks.
You can see Tavon Wilson right over here. Watch him hesitate just for a minute because you got to play the possibility of Russell Wilson pulling this out and running around the end, and it creates just that moment of indecision enough to pick up the first down.
From the 35, to the 30 he goes. So early on, week 1, right high ankle sprain here against Miami, left MCL sprain at San Francisco. So in the 2016 season, he only carried for 44 yards in the first 7 games and 215 in the last 9. So overall, still the lowest rushing total for Russell Wilson. But he got healthier toward the end. He takes the brace off tonight. And on the flip side of that, he had a career high in passing yards. 2nd and 6. Another big hole, and Rawls having a big game. Gets to the 20-yard line. Tackled by Whitehead.
Well, let's give a little credit to Tom Cable, his offensive line coach as well, because they are coming off the football right now. Double teams here, double teams there. Let's go play a little power football and just see what the Detroit Lions have to offer here. Inside linebacker Tyre Whitehead in behind that double team. When you get that kind of movement, you just can't get off and figure out which side that back's coming to.
Bring the fullback in this time. Give it to Rawls again. Seattle has 5 first downs in the game, and Rawls has picked up every one of them. 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, and the Detroit Lions have got to come up with an answer. There's Tom Cable. He's got more than a few, I think 3 different head coaching interviews coming up whenever the Seahawks either get knocked out or next weekend, I guess, is the first time they can do it. And he has been trying to work some magic with this very young group all season long.
2nd and 6. They bring Alex Collins in now as the running back, and Collins works his way to the 14. So they give Rawls a blow, and Collins, a rookie out of Arkansas, drafted in the 5th round, has a 3rd down and 3.
There's Thomas Rawls. He's exhausted. He didn't expect to get this much, and for the Detroit Lions, they have allowed a touchdown 10 consecutive opponent red zone drives, so I'm sure they're getting a little winded out there themselves.
Terrell Watson is the defensive coordinator. He's another guy who's going to be getting some interviews in the forthcoming days. 3rd down and 3. Wilson fires, high pass, but caught at the 8-yard line by Jermaine Kearse, reaching up, hauling it in. Former University of Washington Husky sets up a 1st down and goal for the Seahawks.
And Russell Wilson's having to get this ball out of his hands really quickly. You're going to end up with Ziggy Ansah taking Fant right back into Wilson, and the 5'10", 5'11" Russell Wilson had to throw right over the top of that mess, stood in there and delivered.
From the 8 on the 1st and goal with Rawls back in. Give it to him again, and Rawls keeps on chugging and takes the ball to the 2-yard line. So a dozen carries for Rawls and 77 yards. Seahawks have run 21 plays, 14 of them on the ground.
Watch what happens with these double teams here, and watch what happens to the linebacker in behind. You get the double team push, and it ends up enveloping the linebacker behind, and there's nothing he can do. Once that movement starts, the linebacker's basically dead on this play, and until they start winning some battles up front, it's going to be a long night for this Lions defense.
10 of 11 plays on the ground. Wilson stumbles but gets it to Rawls, and he gets it to the 1-yard line with 8 minutes to go in the half, and a 3rd and goal forthcoming.
A couple of people from the Lions pointing like there was a fumble on the tail end of that play. The officials aren't reacting at all, though.
Well, one of the Lions comes away with it, but after the play had been whistled dead.
That's Jermaine Ifedi right there, come back, and I believe step on Russell Wilson's foot. Yep. Tough to make a handoff. He's a flexible guy. He has been through a lot this season, but always finds a way.
3rd and goal. Play action. Rolling and then throwing an incomplete. So from the 1-yard line, Kerry Hyder put the heat on. I wonder if Richard Sherman will have something along the sideline. Richard didn't like in the Rams game when they threw the ball from the 1-yard line. Need we remind anybody what happened in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and he referenced it as well. And you have to wonder if that's somewhere in the back of Darrell Bevell's mind. And then as a defensive coordinator, are you thinking they're going to run it? Are they really going to go for this here?
Yeah. Well, it's 4th down and goal, at least for the moment. They're going to line up to go for it from the 2-yard line.
McAvoy's a big receiver coming in motion right there.
Fake the rolls. Wilson's going to lob one. You get all kinds of action in the end zone. You get 2 flags. And somehow, some way, Paul Richardson comes up with the ball.
Oh, my goodness, what a catch.
Tavon Wilson was all over him. Even Pete Carroll has to look up and watch this one on the big board.
First of all, great job coming back through by Richardson to make sure he got the penalties.
Pass interference, defense number 32. The penalty is declined as a result of the play is a touchdown.
Yeah, Stafford thought it should have been offensive pass interference. It was not.
Not a chance. There's the foul, no question about it. And then the catch, one hand, hangs on, goes to the ground, and Paul Richardson, he is really, what, their 3rd at best wide receiver out there, and boy, that's a way to move up the depth chart.
Yeah,
catch.
He moved to 3 when Tyler Lockett got hurt. Stephen Hauschka for the point after. And the Seattle Seahawks go 60 yards, 14 plays, 11 of those plays on the ground, lead 7-0. So tomorrow night it's live. It's normally unpredictable. Jimmy Fallon comes out of the Tonight Show studio, heading west to Beverly Hills for the Golden Globes, 7 Eastern and 4 Pacific, right here on NBC. The old Ferris wheel, hard by Elliott Bay, beautiful sight, different colors every night. Seahawk colors tonight, and they lead 7-0 in this wild card game.
About a little love for Pete Carroll there. That was no layup right there, going for that one on 4th down. And as Herm Edwards once say, you play to win the game, and he came out firing there on that one. That was a heck of a call.
Stephen Hauschka sending it down toward Roberts, and from the 1-yard line, he's going to come back with it. And Andre Roberts looking for some room. It's taken down up at the 20-yard line. Back to the TD we go.
Yeah, tremendous job by Richardson just coming through. Russell Wilson said, had it all the way.
This wild card playoff being brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Miller Lite, the original light beer. By Amazon Prime, get free 2-day shipping on millions of items. And by the new thriller Split in theaters January the 20th. So the AFC playoff seedings. Houston defeated Oakland today 27-14. We go to Kansas City for our coverage next Sunday, and they will meet, well, if Miami were to win that game, Miami would go to New England. Pittsburgh wins that game. Pittsburgh goes to Kansas City. Here's the pass, and it's caught by Ebron for a first down, 11-yard gain out to the 32.
Now, this is the matchup the Lions have to like. Anytime you get this guy, he's not a blocking tight end. He is a receiving tight end against the safety, even the best of safeties, which Cam Chancellor certainly is. That's to their advantage. They go spread. They bring out people out all over the field, try and win some inside matchups one-on-one.
Stafford 6 of 11 to start, 44 yards. And center keeps on moving, takes the ball out to the 36-yard line.
And the Seattle Seahawks are always going to be a stop-the-run first kind of team. And you can see what they're doing with Cam Chancellor. Here he is, a safety, right in the middle of the field, basically playing like another linebacker, a hybrid kind of position in there. But they will never let you get your running game going because they're going to have that hammer down there taking care of business.
Second down and 6. And Zenner's going to get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. They swarm KJ Wright first to greet him. Jim Caldwell, longtime assistant under Tony Dungy. Then he ascended. He got the team to the Super Bowl in his rookie season, where they lost to New Orleans. 3rd year as the Lions head coach. After he left there, he went to Baltimore, became the offensive coordinator when the Ravens won the Super Bowl. Gets the Detroit job, gets into the playoffs a couple of years ago. Last year, bad start, but a good finish, and this year to the playoffs again. 3rd and 9. Blitz coming. Stafford hangs in the pocket, pass is dropped. Anquan Bolden can't hang on. Late flag comes in. Deshaun Shedd with the coverage. But Brad Allen will get the word from his crew.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 80, offense. It will be 4th down following administration of a 15-yard penalty.
So Bolden can't hang on. Shedd with the coverage, and then he gets the foul.
Bolden at the end of this play is going to push an innocent man. Don't know exactly what happened, but it was right in front of the official, and the innocent man said thank you very much.
Innocent man. There might have been a little verbal abuse involved there, do you think? Maybe, kind of, sort of?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what you do on the sideline when somebody comes over.
Right.
But the official doesn't hear that.
Semi-innocent. Devin Hester back to receive the kick. Sam Martin to put it in the air. Hester goes for the fair catch and collects it at the 33-yard line, and there is a flag all the way back at the 20 near the line of scrimmage.
Boy, the Lions are really just self-destructing so far. Those 2 drop passes early, went for it on 4th down. The play got broken up. They've had their chances.
During the kick, holding number 52 of the receiving team. That 10-yard penalty is administered from the end of the kick. It will be 1st down. Timeout.
Brock Coyle. 4:48 to the half. 7-0 home team. That Lion defense allowing their opponents to complete 72.7% this year, highest in NFL history. League average around 63, 64% or so. But a lot of that is almost everybody was throwing very short passes against the Lions. Here tonight, Wilson will fire, and that first pass is incomplete. We go to Michelle.
Well, Lions safety Don Carey promotes literacy and academic excellence in the Detroit public schools. He told me Detroit is resurgent. I'm honored to be a part of bringing the city back. He is the Lions nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year presented by Nationwide, which will be awarded Super Bowl weekend at the annual NFL Honors Ceremony, guys.
Good man. A lot of good choices this year. 2nd down and 10 from the 24-yard line. Rolls, and he's able to spring away again. What a night for this guy. Gets the midfield. Broke away from Ziggy Ansah, and he has now gained 101 yards in less than a half. 26 here.
Inexcusable. You really can't do this. You're the containment on the outside. When that thing bounces to you, that has to be yours. Cannot let this outside of you. There's no help. It has just been mistakes so far for the Detroit Lions. That's simple, easy defense. I guarantee you, Terrell Austin's going crazy on that one.
Play action. Wilson fires into traffic, and that is caught. That is Richardson. Another big catch for him. He had the touchdown. Beats Nevin Lawson. That's a gain of 19.
Just straight man-to-man coverage on the outside. And Richardson's a guy, his first couple of years, just had injuries, ended up on IR both times, and he's putting on a show. He looks like Odell Beckham tonight out here making some of these catches. A little face mask to boot at the end of that.
From the 31. Here's Rolls. Starts right, left, up the middle. To the 26-yard line, tackle there by Sean Robinson.
You know, we've been in Seattle quite a bit this year, and we got a chance to see Thomas Rawls in practice and all the different things that he's been able to do. For Pete Carroll, that's the kind of elite quickness that he has been waiting to see once again. been waiting to see this offensive line to come together. They've had moments where they were good. In New England, remember in New England,
Sure.
we're up there, they upset the Patriots. In New England, they got their running game going with C.J. Procise that night.
Alex Collins in the backfield, but here's so much we have an easy pass on the Ferris wheel. Here's Collins to the 24-yard line. 3rd down. Seahawks primarily a running team. Of course, you had Marshawn Lynch, you had the rookie Wilson, and then through the years, and then Marshawn retires. Didn't have a running game to speak of this year. And they had a 60-40 ratio, 60 pass, 40 run. 25th in the league in rushing this season, but you would never know it the way Rawls is going tonight.
I tell you, people don't have enough appreciation of Marshawn Lynch. That guy was amazing.
3rd down 4 from the 25. Only a 3-man rush, and the pass is low and incomplete, intended for Tanner McAvoy. 4th down, 2-minute warning. Field goal attempt will probably be the next play you will see after this break. Quick-paced game, 2 minutes to the half. Seattle leading 7-0. Hauschka will try to make it 10-0 when play resumes with what will be about a 43-yard field goal. Had one blocked last week. Stevens had a lot of drama this year. So the halftime is coming your way. D'Antoni Rodney back east. Jadeveon Clowney leading Houston to a divisional round. They beat Oakland today. Eli Manning and Aaron Rodgers tomorrow at Lambeau. Coming up at the half. CenturyLink Field beautifully lighted on this night. The new long snapper is Tyler Ott. John Ryan to put it down. And Hauschka to try to make it 10-0 from 43 out. Which he does. 1:55 to halftime. 10-0 Seahawks. In the NHL, Wednesday night is always rivalry night. That means the Penguins take on the Capitals this Wednesday. That means Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin Wednesday night on NBCSN at 7 Eastern Time. 1:55 remaining in the opening half. 10-0 is the score. Matthew Stafford 6 of 12, 44 yards. Detroit only 72 total yards in this first half.
Matthew Stafford's been good. He needs a little help from his friends.
Andre Roberts back to run it back. And instead he will down it there. All right, let's go back to the only touchdown of the game. And you can take a look at what could have been, should have been, might have been a face mask call here.
Yeah, and you can see inside the face mask were the fingers of Paul Richardson, and pulling that head around, he had no chance to even find the football. Should have definitely been offsetting penalties at that point, and the touchdown come off the board.
And that was a 4th down play as well. 10-0, 1:55. Detroit has all of its timeouts. And Stafford throws, caught over the middle. It's going to be a 1st down. Bolden takes the ball out to the 41-yard line.
You know, it's the one area that teams feel like they can take a little advantage of the Seattle Seahawks, and that's those quick throws over the middle. They have good receivers in there. Get the ball out of your hand quickly, work there.
Stafford throws.
Catch the ball.
Yeah, you have to catch it. That's Ebron. That's another drop. That's 2nd down and 10.
You know, it's a big moment, right? There's a lot of pressure. Yeah, but you got to make those plays, because now when you get the 2nd and 10, now the pass rushers, and now the loops, and now the stunts, and now your young offensive line, now the crowd, all those things start coming into play because you dropped that ball. The 4 best pass rushers on the field now for Seattle.
Jumping across the line, yeah.
Right.
It's Cliff Averill, the former
Ball start.
Lion.
Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
He came across because he was drawn by Larry Warford, the guard.
Yeah, Larry Warford, who is their best offensive lineman, but the best of the best come in here and they can't hear. And Seattle is so good with those little twitches, and you know they fake a snap count every once in a while because there's no umpire back there anymore, and all the little games come into play now.
Pete Carroll telling the crowd, keep going, get into it. They hardly need any encouragement. 2nd and 15. Stafford deep down the sideline, and it is Marvin Jones hauling it in. Inbounds. Great grab at the 34-yard line. Good tight coverage, and he's able to keep both feet in against Jeremy Lane.
Okay, this is a great catch. This is an unbelievable throw. An unbelievable throw. There is no room whatsoever to get that throw in there. He wants a snap.
Well, there's no challenge within the last 2 minutes, but before they get the snap away.
The ruling on the field of completed pass is under further review.
Yeah. It has to be stopped upstairs, and it is with 1:22 to the half.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's a completed pass. First down, Detroit.
Well, this is some throw and some catch, and watch the way Jones is able to keep both feet in.
Yeah, great job with his feet. That foot clearly in. There's the second. But look how little room Matthew Stafford had to get that ball in. I mean, Jeremy Lane couldn't play that any better. Had him pinned all the way to the boundary, and still Matthew Stafford made the play.
From the 34-yard line. Stafford with a shoulder shake, but can't avoid the sack. And that's the ex-Lion Averill coming in to knock him down. 6-yard sack.
And that's really Frank Clark making this play right up the gut, and then he had to try and scramble and get through, but it was just too messy at that point.
2nd and 16. Set up a screen for Zenner, and he'll get to the 34. Taken down there by Bobby Wagner. So they, if nothing else, they got to get a field goal here because the Hawks are going to get the ball to start the second half.
What an unbelievable play by Bobby Wagner on that one. They had a man blocker out there on him, avoids it and saves the day.
Tried all of its timeouts, but they've taken it down to less than a half a minute. And Stafford throws, and that's incomplete. And they look for a flag and don't get one. Cassius Marsh put the hit on Stafford that time. And it's 4th down.
Watch Bobby Wagner right here. You're going to get a man block on him on the screen, which sometimes leads to huge plays. Wagner fights that one off and gets back in to make the stop and turn this into a long field goal.
So 51 yards for a guy who has the NFL record. Matt Prater, when he was with Denver, kicked a 64-yarder. Wind not a factor. And Prater's kick is good, and that is exactly what they need to make it at least a one-possession game, and Seattle to get the ball to start the second half. 10-3. As you know, Chris, your fantasy league is never over. Never over this season.
I love it.
NFL.com playoff challenge. Sign up.
Do it later tonight.
You do it for sure.
Is it too late after they played these two games? It's never too late.
It's never too late. I mean, the day after the Super Bowl, you can sign up for next year.
Yep. That's what Devin Hester says, too. It's never too late. We
asked Pete Carroll if Devin Hester has the green light on returning kickoffs. He said, absolutely not. I'll take that touchback anytime. 20 seconds left. Seattle has all of its timeouts. Not that it's going to matter to that extent right now. Sam Martin to kick off. Well, Hester's going to come back with it. Out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
Oh, you talked a little bit about Bobby Wagner, but what a year it has been for him. Leads the National Football League in solo tackles. Out of 119, only 8 missed tackles. That's fewest in the NFL. And he is a pass rusher, too. 24 quarterback pressures. That's the most by a linebacker inside, 4.5 sacks. But it's this kind of play where so often he's the most athletic guy on the field many times. To make that play, get off the block there by Laken Tomlinson, this guy will be a defensive MVP one day, I guarantee you.
Kneel down ends it. That's the end of the first half in this NFC wildcard game, with the Seattle Seahawks leading the Detroit Lions 10-3. Coming up next are at a halftime, but first these messages from your NBC station. Seattle, home of the 12s. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tavoya, Heather Cox on this Saturday night. There's the 12, lighting up one of the buildings here. The buzz, Matthew Stafford, 97 yards. Detroit has only 119 total in the half. Russell Wilson, only 10 throws. They've been doing all the damage on the ground. That man right there, 100 or more rushing yards. First player in the first half of a playoff game since Colin Kaepernick did it for the 49ers against the Packers back in 13. And Richardson with the only touchdown of the game. And that was in dispute when you looked at the face mask on the other side, but it was not called. Only had one touchdown catch in the regular season. So there he is. That catch, the difference in the game right now is it's 10-3 as we start the second half. Sam Martin to send it down to Devin Hester. Had that one run back out of the end zone in the first half, and this time he will just take it out right there for the touchback, and we go to Michelle.
Well, guys, I talked to Jim Caldwell at halftime, and I asked him about the Paul Richardson touchdown you just referred to and the face mask that wasn't called. I asked him what the officials told him about that no call, and he told me simply, quote, they said they got it wrong. Al?
Too late. Yep, Michelle. So what do you know, at this particular point? By the way, if you're wondering if that was reviewable, it's not. You can't review a penalty. And, of course, that came in a situation where they could have stopped it, but they did not.
All right, scoring play anyway, right?
It's a scoring play. Exactly right. Not reviewable under any circumstance. Ball at the 25-yard line. And Rolls takes the ball up to the 29. In 4, Whitehead makes the tackle.
I'm going to tell you something, Al. This Mark Lewinsky, these guys right here are just doing a number over here on this side. They are taking defensive linemen and driving them straight back. That's A'Shawn Robinson, who's a second-round pick, good player. And they are just physically winning the battle up front right now.
The Seahawks are averaging almost 6 yards per rush. Of course, almost all of that taken care of by Thomas Rawls. And Wilson gets it away quickly. It's caught by Jimmy Graham. And he takes it to the 42. First down, we go to Heather.
Al, you were talking about Thomas Rawls. He's actually the first Seattle running back in franchise history to run for over 100 yards in a half in a playoff game. Pete Carroll credits his success to the O-line creating gaps, and he said we're finally giving Thomas enough carries that he can get into the offensive flow, and he's certainly allowing us to stick with our game plan here in the second half. Now for the Lions' perspective, let's go to Michelle.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell told me that Thomas Rawls is a major problem. They lost contain a couple times. He said most of that was our error, but he's a heck of a player.
No doubt about that. And they missed him when he was out. And that's caught by Doug Baldwin, who hasn't done very much to this point tonight. They've done a nice job on him. Tavon Wilson makes the tackle, second down.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that the Seahawks have not gone more to Doug Baldwin, one of the best slot players, if not the best, in the entire National Football League. And right now the Lions, their slot defender, they're down to their third string there. Got Don Carey's been playing some in there, Preston Butler. They just signed a Darius Barnes. So I thought that would be a focus of where they might try to attack.
Second and 10 to the ground again. Boy, they're opening up huge holes here. Rawls again crosses midfield, takes the ball into Detroit territory, and that is a first down.
One of the unsung heroes of this game so far is this guy right here. Watch what Luke Wilson has done. He missed a few games with a knee injury, knee surgery actually, But since he has come back, this is a different blocking team. He is the guy that does all those little backside motions and blocks, and he has been a major factor in this.
Rushing yards about a 5-to-1 ratio. Wilson throws, and that's incomplete. Richardson had to go to his knee. Again, to set the scene here as they work on Don Carey on the sideline. If Seattle wins, they go to Atlanta, and that game would be played next Saturday. And if Detroit wins, they go to Dallas. Dallas and Atlanta, the 1 and 2 seeds. Week off, the bye.
Now Creston Butler in there in the slot position. He has played, I think, 5 snaps, something like that. Just that much on the game last week.
Not a lot. 2nd and 10. Wilson dancing around under pressure and just flings it into the bench. And it will be 3rd down and 10.
Here comes Doug Baldwin out around the outside, and they're just playing some basic zones out there as they probably now, with Don Carey being out, down to their 4th-string guy there. So they're just trying to keep everything in front of them. But here's their moment. If you're Terrell Austin, this is what you live for as a defensive coordinator. You got 3rd down and 10. You have a chance to come after them if you want. You can play zone. This is the one time you can open up your playbook completely defensively.
3 receivers down the right side, fired, caught to the 34-yard line. Jimmy Graham, they moved him to the inside, worked him out of the slot, picks up the 1st down here on a gain of 14 yards.
And I think Terrell Austin's feeling a little hamstrung here. First of all, they just come with a 4-man rush, drop back and play zones, which is fine, but if you're going to do that, you have to sit down inside that 10-yard marker and not allow those kinds of easy throws. You know that their targets are Jimmy Graham and Doug Baldwin. You can't give that one away.
From the 34-yard line, and one of the few times tonight that Thomas Rawls cannot get on track. Rawls from Flint, Michigan. So facing the Lions here. Played his college ball initially at Michigan and then wound up playing at Central Michigan. And he's been the guy that last year he got hurt. He was the guy by the end of the season. The primary guy was going to be the primary guy this year until he suffered a shin injury and missed about the 1st half of the season, most of it anyway.
Yeah, missed weeks 3 through 10 with that broken leg, and now he's coming back and looks sharp.
2nd down and 9. And they finally stuff him again back to back here. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, because now what they're doing is they're going to heck with this. We are going to stop the run and take our chances with some one-on-one coverage on the outside. You just can't let a team plow through you the way that they have been and expect to win in a game like this. So now they're dropping that safety down. They're doing all that they can do to stop the run first.
3rd and 11. Rawls has already carried the ball 19 times tonight. Go 4 wide. Wilson stepping up in the pocket, and he will get smothered at the 40-yard line. And that's going to probably take them out of field goal range as well as Ansa comes in for the sack.
Yeah, and this is terrific coverage. So they still go back into some of those zone defenses, but they took away earlier the big play threats of the Seattle Seahawks. They didn't just sit back and wait on them and gave Ziggy Ansah enough time to come up with another sack. And now they got a punt.
So they might have tried maybe a 54-yarder with Hauschka, but too late now. As they send in the punting group, Ryan puts a little backspin on it, and they're going to down it inside the 5-yard line. Perfect. 9:36 left in the quarter. 10-3. This wildcard playoff game brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Pepsi, Breakout the Pepsi. By Rocket Mortgage, by Quicken Loans, push button, get mortgage. And by the new Volkswagen Golf All-Track with 4Motion all-wheel drive. Well, that's the Starbucks Roastery. Visitors can taste a variety of rare and small lot reserve coffees. Starbucks.
Be their spokesperson. Nicely done.
Very nice, huh? Well, you think of Green Bay Packers, Seattle, Starbucks. 9.5 in the third, and ball is handed off to Zenner. Now, if you're a Detroit fan, you're sick of it. You know what the rest of the country probably doesn't know. Haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. Haven't won a road playoff game since 1957. Not only was Ike in the White House, President Eisenhower, he was probably watching the game on a black and white set with rabbit ears and tinfoil.
And Perry Mason afterwards.
Right. That's how long it has been. It's been a long, long, long drought for the Lions. They've lost 8 consecutive playoff games and are desperately trying to avoid a 9th tonight. It's a 1-possession game. It's 2nd down and 6. Stafford buying time. Now he races to the sideline and gets out of bounds at about the 11-yard line. Speaking of the Eisenhower Presidential Library, you go back to, it's in San Francisco, and it was a big comeback the last time this team won a road playoff game. When you look at films from that era, it doesn't even look like the same game. And the goalposts are on the goal line.
There goes Zach Zenner.
Martha Firestone Ford on the left, the owner of the team, widow of the late William Clay Ford. And she really shook things up last year. She got involved with a purpose. On 3rd and 4, they're able to pick up a big first down here, getting out of the shadow of the goal post as Golden Tate makes the catch to quiet the crowd.
And it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but that was the one he dropped earlier in the game to kill the opening drive. Gonna come out and just motion him out and then bring him back inside here. Bumped into Anquan Bolden, but enough to pick up that first down. So at least they get out of that loudest part of the stadium.
Jim Bob Cooter took over in mid-season last year as the offensive coordinator. Halfway through the 3rd quarter, fake to Zenner, fired over the middle. It's wide open and a juggling catch, but it's dropped and a flag. Marvin Jones had gotten very free, but there's a penalty marker back near the line of scrimmage.
Ugh. Lions fans have got to be sick.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face, number 35, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
But it's such a great call there by Jim Bob Cooter. End up coming right across the middle here after the play action. There's the penalty on the outside against Deshaun Shedd. But they've been dropping balls like that all night, and it's a beautiful night here to play football. Just maybe just play off nerves.
First down from the 20. And Zenner, and he will get stuffed just past the line of scrimmage. Now the Detroit Lions, they have been the kings of the second half comeback this season. 8 of them, 8 fourth quarter rallies. But in the last 3 weeks against the Giants, just a field goal. At Dallas, zip. And last week, 10 points, that touchdown coming on a Hail Mary that meant next to nothing at the end of the game.
Well, not next to nothing.
Well, thank you for back-ending that. I really appreciate it.
I never forget.
Yeah, right. It's never over. 2nd down and 9 from the 21-yard line. And Stafford throws, and Zenner makes a juggling catch. And Zenner out past the 40 before Sherman rides him down at the 44-yard line. Circus catch there. 23 yards.
The key is you have to get out and block the guy that's in man coverage. So they're going with the screen. They bring pressure. If you can block the guy that's in man coverage down the field, you're going to have a play. We saw Wagner avoid one of those earlier. And thank goodness Zach Zenner hung on to that one because they needed that play.
The Lions have moved from their own 4 out to the 44. Stafford fires. That's caught. That's a first down. That is Golden Tate taking the ball into Seattle territory.
That was a big shot by Bobby Wagner there, coming back underneath on the coverage. And I thought there was a chance that Richard Sherman would follow Golden Tate in this game. He has not. Richard Sherman, when you leave him alone at the left cornerback position, he is the ultimate shutdown guy. Only one guy with a better quarterback rating against when he's playing this position, and they have left him here all night long, and Matthew Stafford has avoided him all night long.
There he is with press coverage on Jones. Hangs with him. Ball in the hands here of center to the 41-yard line. This is what Chris was referring to here. Richard Sherman on the left side. The rating is close to 70, which is still low. On the right side, 40, which is terrific.
Right, and that is as the offense looks at it on the right side over there. We debated that for a while today, which way to write that one down. But Richard Sherman on this side gives up very little. And if you want to try deep on this side, gives up next to nothing. They've got their fastest guy over there right now, though, Marvin Jones.
On the left defensive side, lined up with Jones. You got a 2nd down and 8. Stafford to the left side. Center makes the catch, and he gets ridden out of bounds about 2 yards shy. Wagner covering him on the play. Wagner, did he get a face? Well, he did not. Zenner thinking that maybe he did, and it will be 3rd down, 3rd and 2.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little creative with this offense now. That was nicely done. And Zach Zenner, the receiver now, is having a major impact. That's the reason I was surprised when they took him out on that 4th down play earlier, because he is such a good receiver.
Well, he ran that pass for the backup tight end Mulligan and had to turn the ball over. 9th play of the drive coming. 4 runs, 4 passes. 3rd and 2.
Holden stacked.
Stafford holds on, throws, and that's incomplete at the 20-yard line. And jumping up is Golden Tate, imploring one of the officials to throw a flag. There is none.
You see Taylor Decker right there working against Michael Bennett. Bennett ends up down to his knees. No excuse on that one. Tava Rubin with a little pressure. Just misfired on this one. A little too high for Golden Tate.
So now Prater with a 53-yard field goal attempt. Again, no wind. Good conditions from 53 to try to make it a 4-point game. And he bangs that one through. So Prater from 51 and 53, and it's 10-6 in Seattle. PGA Tour 2017 underway. Best in the game competing in Hawaii. Find out who will be the first champion of the year tomorrow, 3 o'clock on NBC, 5 o'clock on the Golf Channel. The SBS Tournament of Champions from Hawaii. Paul Allen, the longtime owner of the Seahawks and the Portland Trailblazers, sitting there with the laptop. That's
stunning.
Right. Of course, made his fortune with Bill Gates at Microsoft.
My laptop's bigger than his is.
It is. He's a little bit more adept at it than you are, I think.
I don't know.
I got Andy over there. Sam Martin kicks off, and it goes through the end zone. So with 4:03 to play in the 3rd, tight one. Seattle up by 4. Think about the ownership of these two teams. William Playford Sr. purchased the Lions in '63. Of course, the Ford family, the beginning of the automotive age, synonymous with Detroit. Paul Allen bought the Seahawks in '96. He at Microsoft, along with Bill Gates, and take a look at that shot right there, bringing us all into the digital age. So the automotive age on one side, the digital age on the other, the owners of the Lions and the Seahawks. It's great. From the 25-yard line, it's Baldwin taking the pass at the line of scrimmage, staying inbounds, getting a nice block from Marcel Reese. But they're going to say, I think, that he stepped out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So that's going to be about a 6-yard gain.
And Pete Carroll's going to examine it closely here to make sure. Got a few tight rope. There it is right there. Definitely out. Nicely done by the officials, as they usually do.
Nothing to challenge. The ball at the 31-yard line. 2nd down and 4. shy of a first.
Tremendous first half for this Seattle Seahawks offensive line. It's taken a lot of heat this year. Some of it from me too, I'll tell you that. But it has been the guys inside, Justin Britt, and Mark Lewinsky has simply played the best game that I've seen him play. For Jermaine Ifedi, the rookie, that's what he wants to do too. He wants to play some power football, and they have gotten to it here tonight.
You got 3 receivers stacked to the left here on 3rd and 1, and they're going to run the ball, and rolls again, bursts through the line of scrimmage. There's Wilson down there to throw a block to help spring him, and he takes it to the 35-yard line. 3rd down and 1. Rawls a little slow in getting up, but how about Russell Wilson downfield and throwing a block to get him a few more yards?
Once again, the hesitation because you don't know if Russell Wilson's going to run the ball or not. Thomas Rawls shaken up.
32-yard gain and a timeout for Rawls right here. Well, they took Rawls out. It was a helmet-to-helmet situation. Then he was being examined on the sideline, and just before we got back from commercial, the way he reacted, it's almost as if they told him, "You're out of the game right now," so we'll have to wait and see. But meanwhile, at the 34-yard line, off play action, Wilson will throw the ball, caught by Alex Collins, and Collins is able to move for a first down after it looked like he had about an 8.5-yard pickup. He's able to lean forward and move the chains. Back to the hit on Rawls.
Tyre Whitehead's going to come in and sort of hit him in the back of the helmet. Russell Wilson here with a foul. I mean, that's just a block in the back that wasn't called. Probably surprised the officials as much as it did anybody else, but that was a foul, and that's the second one that's hurting the Lions.
Yeah, they're probably thinking, what are you doing down here on Raphael Bush? And this is Alex Collins to the 20-yard line.
I'll tell you, this Alex Collins is no slouch now. Here's a guy that rushed for over 1,500 yards in his final year at Arkansas, had 3 consecutive seasons over 1,000 yards in the SEC, and there's only 3 guys total that's ever done that. One of them's named Herschel Walker.
Now Rawls is going to come back into the game.
I think he won the fight with the
he did.
doctor.
Yeah, just the way he reacted at first, it was like, hey, I'm fine, don't take me out. He's carried 21 times for 154. That's 7 yards per carry. Plus, catch made, 19-yard line. Rawls takes it in there. And that'll make it 3rd. Flag comes in at the end of the play. We approach the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Brad Allen to make the call.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 92, defense. After this is to the goal, automatic, first down.
Pelote Nata.
Well, after the play, there's a little scuffling, and then you see the forearm shiver there under the chin of Ifedi, and rightly thrown there. For Haloti Nata, this has been not his best. He's got the shoulder injury, the guy who probably has a case for the Hall of Fame, but not quite up to his usual standard this season.
Well, that makes it a 1st and goal. Lions trying to keep it a 1-possession game. And Wilson throws, and is snatched at the 6-yard line by Doug Baldwin. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Tavon Wilson makes the stop, and we're down to the final 30 seconds of the quarter.
They are doing all they can to try and help protect George Fant on the left side. They are 2 different tight ends on that side of the formation now, just trying to make sure Ziggy Ansah doesn't wreck this game. Not by himself.
2nd down and goal. And they don't have to run a play, and that's going to take us to the 4th quarter. End of 3. It's 10-6 Seattle, and this wild card playoff continues after this. Aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. It's downtown Seattle. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, Heather Cox. As we go to the 4th quarter, good ball game, tight 6. Winner advances, of course, to the divisional round, and the loser begins a long offseason. Second down and goal. Thomas Rawls has carried 21 times tonight. 22 is forgettable as he slips down as he gets the handoff. Glover Quinn on top of him there, and a very big 3rd and goal.
Doug Baldwin asked to do too much on this one. Glover Quinn's going to jump right inside here and make this play. This is it. Remember, it was 4th down when they hit the touchdown pass. Controversial touchdown pass, but there they go. This is Jimmy Graham time right here. Is at the bottom of the screen, and Doug Baldwin's right next to him. On motion.
Baldwin left side, Curse in the slot, Richardson far outside on the left as they go 3 by 1. And Wilson fires over the middle, and it's broken up. Intended for Curse in the end zone, and that's Glover Quinn, who has not missed a snap all season. He's played every one, breaking it up 4th down.
Nicely done. You're going to get the little crossing route coming right here. Glover Quinn's going to come in and jump all over it. He has been the man. Watch Jimmy Graham on the other side. I think they thought he might get the ball. 3 guys on him. But what a stand that is, because that now is going to keep this thing to a 1-score game.
Hauschka, 27-yard field goal attempt. And that Detroit defense needing to hold, and they do. It's 13-6, 14-12 left in the 4th. Well, coming up on Tuesday, a show that's captivated a lot of people in the audience. This is Us Tuesday night, returning with an all-new episode right here on NBC. Man, they drive fast in Seattle, don't they? Hauschka to kick off with 14-12 remaining in the 4th quarter. One thing about the playoffs and overtime, not like the regular season, you can play until a week from Tuesday. No game will end in a tie. 2 yards deep, Andre Rogers. Roberts, whoa, he gets smacked down at the 17-yard line. That is Jerron Johnson planting him. Let's go to Heather.
Seahawks linebacker Cliff Averill rebuilt a school and pledged to build a home in Haiti for every sack he records this season so far, including tonight, a career-high 12 and a half. And Averill is the Seahawks nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year, presented by Nationwide, which will be presented Super Bowl weekend at the annual NFL Honors Ceremony.
All right, thank you, Heather. Averill joining the Lions in 08, the year they went 0-16, so he's played with an 0-16 team and has a Super Bowl ring with Seattle.
Great guy, just a great guy.
From the 16, start with Zenner, and he will get taken down at the line of scrimmage by Cam Chancellor, and a late flag.
Not going to beat Seattle running the ball on 1st down. That Cam Chancellor is just going to be there. One guy unblocked on almost every single snap is Cam Chancellor.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 80, offense, half the distance to the goal, the down counts. 2nd down.
Wow, that's the 2nd foul on Bolden.
You know, and he's a tough and a physical, and he played with a broken jaw and all that kind of stuff. But, man, you got a chance to move on in the playoffs here, and he's a veteran guy.
And that's his 2nd personal foul, which, even though Allen didn't announce it, should mean he's done. They take him out. They have to take him out. He had a foul on the sideline earlier, and then this one, and that means T.J. Jones comes in to take his place. 2nd down and 17. And Stafford airs it out and incomplete. And that's intended for T.J. Jones. And he's crazy with his no flag. And Deshaun Shedd was covering on the play. And Stafford is exorcised.
It was so strange. The official kind of
on the field as the pass was not catchable by rule. Uncatchable pass. Third down.
And that's when, as a wide receiver, you say, well, if he hadn't grabbed me, I would have been diving right there and had a chance to make that catch.
So it's 3rd and 17. Bolden is back in. It's 2 fouls for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Which I thought both of them were.
No, one of them, one was a personal foul. It was a different situation. 3rd and 17, and that pass is caught by Bolden, and he's out of bounds at the 17-yard line. But that's going to make it 4th down.
Yeah, and there was a little chatter at the tail end of that when Richard Sherman hit Anquan Bolden. They had a little conversation as he went off the field. That hurts, though. I mean, that you only get, what, 10, 11 possessions, 12 possessions per game, and those personal fouls basically in those possessions.
Right, and it makes you punt from deep in your own territory and send it down to Devin Hester. So Martin's kick. Hester tells everybody to stay away from it.
And they're lucky.
Including him.
They are lucky that didn't bounce off of one of the Seattle players right there.
Very close, and another flag down. For the moment, the ball rolled dead at the 28-yard line. Flag is down at the 50 on the other side of the field.
And one hat off sometimes means you ran illegally out of bounds, something like that.
During the kick, illegal blocking the back, number 27 of the receiving team. That 10-yard penalty is administered from the end of the kick. 1st down.
And that comes on top of a 55-yard punt. It's the playoffs. This wild card playoff game being brought to you by the 2017 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. By T-Mobile, switch to the network built for unlimited data. By the new DQ Deluxe Bacon Cheeseburger $5 lunch. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 50% on car insurance. As you take a look at the seedings in the NFC. Tonight's game featuring 3 against 6. This drive starts back at the 18-yard line after the 55-yard punt plus the penalty. And it's Bolden. Just to clean up the Anquan Bolden thing, both penalties against him have been for unnecessary roughness. You get thrown out of the game with 2 unsportsmanlike calls against you. So even though he's had 2 penalties for unnecessary roughness, he could still have an unsportsmanlike and still not be thrown out of the game. You tell me.
I don't. You tell me. I don't know. There's one.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
There goes the other one.
Right. Neither very helpful. 2nd down and 10 from the 18-yard line. As Wilson throws, and that is caught by the fullback Reese. And Marcel Reese got away from Lawson for the moment. Steps out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. And that's going to make a 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, and we've got new in the backfield, J.D. McKissick, former wide receiver, who is one of those lightning quick we saw in the first game of preseason this year. He returned one over 100 yards for a touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons. And now he's flanked out.
He's on their practice squad in Atlanta. Let him go, and he was picked up by Seattle a couple of weeks back. 3rd and 5, and that pass is caught by Doug Baldwin to the 35-yard line. 1st down, and they all become big at this point in the game.
Yeah, well, anytime you've got your nose tackle trying to defend a hook zone, usually it doesn't work out so well. They throw it right in behind Haloti Ngata, and Russell Wilson saw that one all the way. And that is the basic MO of this Detroit Lions defense. They're going to give you a few things underneath. They hope to never give you one over the top.
Play fake to Rolls. Now Wilson going deep down the sideline. Baldwin is able to hold it in. Did he stay in bounds is the question. And the officials looking at each other, and at the 23-yard line, they're going to call it a completion. 42 yards.
Well, anytime you're asking a safety like Tavon Wilson, who's really much more of a run player, to cover Doug Baldwin out of the slot all the way down the field, watch this catch. Get those feet down. Spectacular. He is one of the great fighters in the league. Doug Baldwin, the fact that he's become the star that he has in this league, 100% grit.
23, pass to Curse. And Glover Quinn is in there to take him down after a gain of 8. You talk about that combination of Wilson to Baldwin. How effective have these guys been? Well, since 2015, the beginning of last season, 75%, 20 TDs, only 4 picks. And you go to the passer rating, 126.3. There's only one combo better. You got it. Brady to Gronkowski. 2nd and 2. That's good coverage. And stopping Thomas Rolls at the 15-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 1. Ashawn Robinson with the tackle.
So you've got to be able to stop the run, right? So watch what Kerry Hyder does here. Comes down hard, then they try and loop things around. They have to do something to disrupt the flow of this running game of the Seattle Seahawks. Expect more of that right now. They have got to start attacking here because the time is moving quickly on Matthew Stafford.
3rd and 1.
Easy.
And Wilson's going to take a timeout. Play clock was down to 3. Back in 30 seconds. Okay. So 3rd down and 1 upcoming here. 9.5 to go in the 4th quarter. Against Seattle with a win. Takes on the Falcons next Saturday. That game in Atlanta. And if Detroit wins, the 6 goes to 1, and the 1 is Dallas. Other, of course, NFC playoff game is tomorrow to wrap up Wild Card weekend with the Giants taking on the Packers at Lambeau Field.
All the tight ends, fullback, power football time here.
3rd and 1.
Unless they shift out and go empty.
And they do. Look at that. They go 5 wide. And Wilson fires, and that'll be caught at the 5-yard line. The ball may have come out as Jimmy Graham is able to hang on to it. Keeps possession, 1st and goal.
It's such a great call because you go in, you bring all these big guys in, and they bring their big guys in, and then Jimmy Graham is covered by a linebacker, Josh Bynes. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the mismatches. Your best guy against a linebacker, you take it all day. Nice call there by Darrell Bevell.
1st down and goal from the 4. Right guard Thomas rolls for the touchdown. The Seahawks just went 82 yards in 8 plays to turn it into a 2-possession lead.
To get that block is so tough, then you get the turnout right there. But watch Justin Britt. He played tackle, he played guard, and now he plays center. They have been looking for an answer at center since Max Unger left, and they have found it this season in Justin Britt. Great command up front. Todd Cable saying that young man Justin Britt is the dynamic leader we've been waiting for. Look at Pete Carroll pounding on Darrell Bevell's back. That was a great call on that. That's to Jimmy Graham.
Extra point by Hauschka is off the upright and no good. He's missed a few this season. But it's a 13-point lead. Who enjoys himself on the sideline more than Pete Carroll? Wilson to Baldwin. Big play. Setting up the touchdown. This is our game on NBC next Sunday, beginning at noon Eastern time. It's in Kansas City, and they will meet either the Steelers or the Texans. If the Steelers beat Miami tomorrow, it's Pittsburgh. If Miami wins, Miami would go to New England, and Houston would go to Kansas City. So we'll be there at Arrowhead next Sunday afternoon. Kickoff fielded at the 4-yard line by Andre Roberts. And he will get taken out of bounds up at around the 27-yard line with 8:43 left and a 13-point Seahawk lead. This season, the Lions, the comeback kings. In the fourth quarter, Matthew Stafford guiding 8 game-winning drives. That's the most in NFL history. Defense 6 takeaways in the final 5 minutes. They trailed in every game this season except at New Orleans. Matt Prater 4 for 4 game-winning field goal attempts. So 8 of their 9 wins, fourth quarter comebacks. The only one that wasn't was in New Orleans. Can they pull off another one tonight and extend their season? From the 25, Stafford starts here, dancing in the pocket, throwing, caught. That's Jones, and that's a gain of 19 to the 44, where he's taken down by Chancellor.
I'm going to tell you what, the Detroit Lions, for having some backup players in the game, are doing a fantastic job with this pass protection. Only allowed 1 sack against this tremendous pass rush all night long.
From the 44-yard line, Stafford over the middle. Oh, he's lucky that wasn't picked off. That's Deshaun Shed. Had it, dropped it, second down.
Yeah, and Matthew Stafford got faked out by his own guy, Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden started to sit down and then made a late move, and Stafford threw it right to Shed, who dropped it. And the inside receiver, you'll see it. Watch this late move, and threw it right to Shed.
Second and 10. Big break for the Lions. A little over 8 to play. Blitz. Stafford over the middle, and that's incomplete. You have 2 receivers in that same area there. Ebron and Jones almost together, third down.
That's a battle Ebron has to win. I mean, he just has to win that battle. This protection has been so good, so amazingly good tonight. Ebron's one-on-one against Cam Chancellor. We got him rated as the #1 safety of football. I get that. But Ebron is a receiving tight end. He has to win those battles.
Third and 10. Blitz again. Stafford fires, and that's incomplete. Bolden covered by Shed. Stafford gets popped by Bobby Wagner. Fourth down.
Now here's what they do to set this up. Here's Wagner, so they're going to bring everybody this way, and then Wagner around the top, and he gets a good shot on Matthew Stafford there. One of the better blitzing, rushing linebackers that there is.
So Hester drops back to accept the kick. Sam Martin tonight, 4 punts, averaging 48 per punt, which is about his season average. Hester calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 16-yard line. So Seattle can play a little clock ball here with 7:51 to go in the fourth. Look at the NFC bracket. Our score on the left, Giants Packers at Lambeau tomorrow. Next week, Fox will have it at 4:40 Eastern time. Cowboys hosting the lowest remaining seed, and the Falcons the highest remaining seed earlier that afternoon. Again, it's real simple. If Seattle wins, they go to Atlanta, and the Giant Packer winner would go to Dallas. And this is Rawls taking it up to the 21-yard line. Tremendous night. He's carried the ball 25 times for 161 yards.
Al, this has been the one play the entire night. I'm just trying to figure out where I am here. This double team coming right back in here to Tyre Whitehead. You know, there's just no way for him to get around that. You know, it's just, you can't lose that badly on those double teams. And the hard part for Seattle fans has to be, okay, is this real, or is this the Detroit Lions defense who struggled badly against Green Bay a week ago? So A little bit of both, maybe.
There is the question. It's a short game here. Rolls, if nothing else, taking some time off the clock. Tackled there by Taylor as we tick down under 7 minutes to go in regulation.
You know, and how good has this rushing game been tonight for Seattle? Russell Wilson has one kneel down. I mean, this is a guy who, when he runs the football, makes huge differences in the game, and they've basically given him the night off, which I'm sure is okay with him in the middle of this playoff run.
No doubt. Rolls to the bench. Reese in the backfield flanking Wilson on a 3rd down and 3. Firing to the outside to Baldwin, and that will be another first down. And more time will come off the clock. Butler makes the tackle.
It's just so easy, and Paul Richardson, who's had a really nice game, watch how casually he does this. Doesn't actually make contact to set up for the first down route on the outside. Don't run into him. Don't draw the foul. Force that guy to go around the top. Preston Butler couldn't get there.
Now to the 28-yard line on first down. Under 6 to play. Alex Collins is the back. To Baldwin on the outside. And Baldwin gets bounced out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
How about that stiff arm? Man, knocked Don Carey to his backside. Doug Baldwin's not the biggest guy in the world. Watch this one. Like an ollie jab.
5'10", 190 pounds, undrafted out of Stanford.
There's a guy in Doug Baldwin. He says sometimes he loves football so much it messes with personal relationships. They have some intensity in this locker room.
2nd and 6. And the handoff goes to Collins up to the 33. Well, we've spent a lot of time with the Seahawks. We've covered them so much, Chris, through the years. You know, there's a lot of intensity, a lot of really smart guys, a lot of guys who say a lot of stuff, but there's a great vibe around the Seahawks and has been for years.
You know, and probably the thing I enjoy watching the most is we have the good fortune of getting to watch them practice on Fridays. These guys are practicing. Around the league, it's not always that intense on Friday. In Seattle on Friday, they're getting after it.
And of course, there's the man, Pete Carroll. He brings the playlist. It's very lively at any Seahawks practice. The music is great. 3rd and 5. Pass deep downfield. Can he one-hand it? Flag thrown. Richardson able to come up with the ball. Pending the flag. Lawson covering.
Did they trade for Odell Beckham?
Senior or
this
junior?
is unbelievable.
That's 27 yards.
Defense, number 24. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
And so many times now you see these receivers doing this, using their inside arm to hold off the defender and making the catch with one hand. Watch this, see if he does that. Just sort of hold him off on that backside. Didn't get any face mask or anything on it. Look at him snap his head down to the ball to make that catch. Boy, they may have found a factor here.
And go back to the first touchdown of the game.
Yeah, one hand on the ball, one hand on the face mask, and that one worked.
Right. Got away with it.
Got to be happy for Paul Richardson, though. His first 2 years of IR and the ACL issue, had the hamstring issue, but now healthy and doing exactly what they thought he might do as a 2nd-round draft pick.
Came from Colorado, started the year as number 4. He's now number 3. And Wilson, look out from behind. He gets whacked, and the flag is down. Whitehead and Luke Wilson were there. Tavon Wilson.
Roughing the passer, number 32. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
And that is Tavon Wilson on the safety blitz.
Yeah, we just talked about an ollie jab. Well, this was a Joe Frazier hook here. Watch this one. Whack. Doesn't have to necessarily be the head or neck area. Russell Wilson, he doesn't care. Give me 15 yards. You know, I know we've talked about it, but Russell Wilson, what he did this year, You know, he had so many different injuries this season. They were waking him up every hour and a half all through the night so he could get treatment, so he didn't have to miss any games. You never see him show much emotion on the field. He just keeps delivering. Very underrated, I believe, as a quarterback.
Russell Wilson over the last 5 years. 3-yard gain here for Alex Collins. Again, he was a gem. They picked him in the 3rd round. And looks like it might be Collins who is still down. It is, and he'll need some attention. It'll be 2nd and 7 when we come back. Thomas Rawls has written his name into the Seahawk record book. 163 yards, breaking the old mark of 157 set by Marshawn Lynch, averaging 6.3 per carry. And tonight, I mean, 34 looks like the old 24. Breaking tackles, tough running, big night.
Great offensive line play. Pete Carroll, give him credit. He knew they were going to come out, try and run the ball. And I'll grant you, the Detroit Lions have been on the short end of the stick on some calls tonight. But that's not why they're losing this game. They're losing this game because they couldn't stop the run.
Couldn't stop the run. 180 yards running versus 38. Rolls. Lose a couple of yards here to the 24-yard line.
Some big holes, no question about it, for Thomas Rawls tonight, but he has also taken advantage of some of these opportunities, spun out, made some nice plays, a little Marshawn Lynch-like, exactly what you're talking about. Guy with a big heart, really does, and the fact that able to come back, he had to be so disappointed after he worked his way back from injury last year, comes back, breaks his leg early in the year, and now here he is on the playoff run.
Well, a healthy Rawls makes a big difference. Detroit, by the way, just took a timeout. I mentioned before, 18 different guys carried the ball for Seattle this year. Granted, some kept getting hurt. Christian Michael came in. Christian Michael winds up as the leading rusher for the team this year. And now, of course, he's at Green Bay.
We've seen him on our vacation tour, too.
Yes, we have. I think every other week we see this at Christian Michael. 3rd and 9. Wilson on the run. That'll be not caught. Incomplete. And getting up is Baldwin saying he goes right over to Carroll. He says, challenge that. I caught it.
He did. He caught it between his legs. You know, Pete might.
He's got the flag.
Pete sometimes, let's see what happens. If he gets a little bit of proof, I think he is, well, that, I don't think that ball ever hit the ground. Now, could you overturn it? Is there enough there to overturn it? Pete Carroll, I guarantee he gives this a try.
Yep.
He's got it pinned. I think it's a catch.
I do too. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet.
It looks like a yoga move.
He's controlling it.
Seattle is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. We'll review the play.
You know, how fast did Baldwin bounce up? So Brad Allen goes under the hood. We think that Pete Carroll is going to win this challenge, and it's going to be a catch. And now, where exactly will they spot the ball? Because it's very close to what they call the line to gain.
Yeah, it's a first down.
And here comes Brad Allen to tell us about it. Crowd will like this.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been changed. It is a catch. As a result, it will be 1st down and 10 for Seattle at the 14-yard line on the hash mark closest to the Seattle bench. Seattle is not charged. A timeout and a successful challenge.
Coach, what did I tell you?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you pin it against. He's on the ground and the ball is secure. Pretty amazing, really. But he knew right away, didn't he? He bounced right up. Now, all receivers do that. But it is a first down, and Darius Slay can't believe it.
Yep.
It's been one of those kind of nights. Seems like the calls that could go their way didn't, and the calls that they wanted to go the other way didn't either. So Pete Carroll is one of the most interesting head coaches I've ever been around. He encourages guys to be themselves. So anytime you see something on the Seattle sideline or their locker room and you go, well, that's crazy, that's not what Vince Lombardi would do. Well, that's right. Pete Carroll says, be yourself, have some fun, and sometimes it stirs it up.
Collins. Well, we were there to call the butt fumble a few years ago, and this was the butt reception.
Now, there's definitely been a few scenes on the sideline, and everybody will tell you, Richard Sherman can be the most intelligent, clever guy in the world, and then sometimes he goes the other way. And open discussion on the sideline sometimes leads to that, but somehow it all kind of works, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, it's one thing to go off the reservation, but you know, these guys go off the reservation, then they come back on.
Yeah, and Pete every once in a while will look over, and the Richard Sherman thing earlier this year, he would look over and he goes, oh, Cam Chancellor's got this, and he'd turn back around and not worry about it, because he has guys on the sideline and they all love each other. Anytime you talk to them, they go, oh, my brother this, and I love that guy, and that's what they talk about around Seattle, and it's mostly because Pete Carroll gives them a chance.
So 3:43, second down and 9. Detroit took its last timeout. So that's why we put up the graphic about cannot challenge anything. You got 3 receivers stacked to the left. Wilson goes that way, and you got 2 guys there, and Baldwin catches it.
No, he stole it.
He stole it, absolutely. You got 2 receivers, Kearse and Baldwin was just able to get there before Kearse could.
Jermaine Kearse had a walk-in, stand-up touchdown right here, and watch Doug Baldwin steal it from him. Well, it has been a one-handed catch show tonight for the Seattle Seahawks. He caught it.
I can't remember seeing a play like that. Can you? The 2 guys are right there.
Well, you don't design plays for 2 receivers to be in the exact same spot, but when you're hot, you're hot.
Certainly not vertically. That's 11 catches for Baldwin, 104 yards. Haskell for the point after. And the Seattle Seahawks have stamped their ticket to Georgia.
Well, that's going to be a show.
Let's go to Michelle.
Well, I know you guys have been waiting for your wild card memes, and here they are. Frigid temps expected in Green Bay tomorrow, but when you're so hot, the temperature does not matter. Won't be much warmer in Pittsburgh, but AB says no worries. Cold never bothered me anyway. Meanwhile, this is what it feels like when you just want to know who you're playing next. And how about a little math? Will fire plus ice equal MVP for Atlanta's Matt Ryan?
Certainly in the hunt.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you know, if you're going to vote for MVP, it's a close contest. I mean, you can make a case for a ton of guys, but I think it's Matt Ryan's time. I thought it's Matt Ryan's win.
It was the hardest. I hated voting this year. I really did. Matt Ryan, unbelievable year. Tom Brady, 28 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, unbelievable year. What Aaron Rodgers did to lead his team back to the playoffs, we saw him last, unbelievable year. I voted for Tom Brady. But I was tortured by it. I really was. I don't know what else Tom Brady could have done this season. Missed the 4 games. You factor that in, and I don't know.
I thought you didn't register. I didn't even know that. Thomas Rawls.
I register like Marshawn Lynch around here.
Right. Yeah.
Some of my comments are earthquakes.
Oh, you're beloved in every city. You know that.
Oh yeah. Why do you hate the?
Why do you hate everybody?
Yeah.
House going to kick off. 3-yard line, Andre Roberts. You know, the feeling around Seattle here is this team. You talk to the fans and others, and listen to the radio, et cetera, and they're all talking about the way it ended with alternating wins and losses and never quite being right, that, you know, maybe this is not the year, going to be too tough. Tell you what, you go back to 2013 when they won the Super Bowl, they were 2-2 in their last 4 games.
Our guys will be able to pull this up, but there's an amazing streak going of teams that have bad streaks to end the season that end up doing great in the playoffs. You go back to Baltimore Ravens, New Orleans Saints. There's a bunch of them.
Yep, everybody's talking about you have to be hot at the end of the year. Well, yeah, normally you want to be. Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Sometimes better be healthy.
Right. And here is Stafford running out of bounds. My man Kenny Hurd is telling me the last 10 Super Bowl winners, these teams, here it comes. It's going to come on a graphic. They were 21-19 in, well, on their last 4 regular season games. So the first 40 Super Bowls, almost all of those teams finished hot. Last 10, not so much. First down up at the 27-yard line. And that's caught by Zenner. Of course, the Lions now will go into the offseason. And again, futility. You still can't win a postseason game. Longest championship droughts. The Lions, 58 seasons. But the Cardinals, and that encompasses Chicago, St. Louis, and Arizona, 69. The Cleveland Indians, 68. The Sacramento Kings, 65 years as Stafford throws, and that's caught by Jones. And that includes Rochester, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Sacramento. So they had to keep moving out of town. Still haven't won.
You know what's hard to believe is how well this Lions offensive line has played tonight, and they haven't scored any points.
2 field goals. Yeah, you did.
Jinxed them.
You put the kibosh on him. Stafford needs a little assistance in getting up. Frank Clark and Cliff Averill, the 2 guys with double-digit sacks this season, will maybe collect a half each. They do, and Clark gets a little shaken up. He had 10 sacks during the regular year. Final play before the 2-minute warning on a 2nd and 20 will be a Stafford pass to Zenner to the Seattle 49, and the 2-minute warning comes with 1:56 remaining on this Saturday night in the Pacific Northwest. Score 26-6 Seahawks. Postseason history, the longest home winning streaks, the Packers between 39 and 02 on 13 straight. The Patriots between 97 and 2008 won 11. The Seahawks will make it 10, so this is an ongoing streak. And the Bills won 9 straight in Buffalo between 89 and 95. And this will be 10 consecutive home game playoff wins for Seattle. Volkswagen postgame report. Michelle on the field stars of the game. Mike Tirico breaking down the brackets, and we'll take a look ahead to tomorrow's wild card matchups. From the 49-yard line. Stafford tonight, 18 of 31 for 205. The big difference, the run game between these 2 teams, and Matthew will get taken down to the 45-yard line by Michael Bennett. You know, one thing, Chris, is we look at this sack again.
It's all coverage sacks. It's really what it is. This offensive line's done a nice job. They're going to get some garbage time sacks here at the end of this thing, but it was coverage down the field, much more so than what the offensive line didn't do.
And 4th and 13, nothing to lose, just go for it. Stafford fires downfield, incomplete. And Seattle will be able to run the clock out. You know, you talk about so much is made of getting the bye in the playoffs and where you are in terms of seeding. You go back to 3 weeks before the season was ending, and Detroit was the #2 seed, #2. And Stafford had the finger injury against Chicago. They go to New York and lose to the Giants. They go to Dallas. And if Washington wins last week and beats the Giants, they're out of the playoffs, period. But they get in as the number 6 seed.
You know, but they had a tough stretch there too.
Very.
You know, one of the reasons they had that good record is they had not played the Giants or the Cowboys or the Packers yet. So, and all the other teams had in that division. So tough. Jim Caldwell, though, I'm telling you, I think they've got something going on. They have to be better, though, stopping the run. It's really what cost them the last couple of weeks.
And 179 yards for Seattle tonight on the ground. Huge night for Rawls, 161.
Sherman pitched a shutout. I don't remember hardly anything going that way. I mean, basically, once they left him on one side of the field, you could see Matthew Stafford said, to heck with that side. I'll try the other way.
Talking at the Seahawk facility the other day when we were meeting with Pete Carroll, the last thing he said to us, he says, I got to get Rawls the ball 20 times. You know, we hear a lot of stuff, and sometimes you half believe it, and sometimes you don't believe it at all. He wasn't fooling.
No, he wasn't. He did it. And the great thing is they really were able to do this without putting Russell Wilson in any kind of jeopardy here tonight. Couple of sacks, but no big hits on him.
No rushes, just that one kneel down. And the Seattle Seahawks are moving on. And the Detroit Lions go into the offseason. Seahawks on to Atlanta. Means the Giant Packer winner tomorrow goes to Dallas. The game is over. Final score 26-6. Volkswagen post-game report coming right up.